What's up, guys? Whale Pants is here to do a little bit of commentary on the Disc Golf Guys channel. We have the final round coverage of the Beaver State Fling. This is the third card with some super good players: Ricky Wysocki, Philo Brathwaite, Dustin Keegan, and Nate Sexton.
One of the best courses in disc golf.
On the East Course, there was some rain, so these players had to make sure to stay dry and battle the elements, trying to move up the leaderboard. So we'll see how they did. Beaver State Fling. Thank you, PDGA, for all you do. So you saw all these players. They're in a tight battle. This was one of the best fields we've seen, starting out on hole 1. This is a great turnover hole. It's one of the more iconic holes because you don't throw many shots like this in disc golf.
On any course.
It's a high, mid, or putter shot, and you just get it to get around that last bit of trees and hold all the way over and looking to give yourself a birdie look. I have seen some unorthodox ways of approaching the tee pad.
Philo forgot to stretch before he got on hole 1. Definitely looks like it's about to rain.
I mean, that's just Oregon norm.
Not
I feel
in the
like.
summer. In the summer, it's pretty dry, actually. It just showed up for us.
Yeah. Wanted to show just how good it is. Philo's shot seems to be amazing because everybody went nuts. We got Dustin Keegan, a.k.a. D-Kitty. See what he's got. Definitely popping out that high turnover mid-range shot that we've seen from the first two.
Even with a sidearm, it's not
Reachable.
really a sidearm hole. It looks like it should be, but it's so far up there. Just doesn't really play for it.
And the Oregon native showing us how it's done. Rick throwing the
compass,
I believe. No, he ain't Oregon.
Like, what are you talking about?
That's a good shot
Ohio.
from Rick. And what you see from these players, they put it high on that angle, and now you just scramble or jam your putts.
Go in. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me? Just throwing a sidearm putt.
That's pretty close. Good bid from Rick.
Yeah, these are all really good drives. Getting near the circle, it's completely blind, so.
That's a good bid. It's tough with that low ceiling. You know you want those. See, this is where Dustin ended up. Jam Town. Let's go. And Philo, even closer.
The stretching helped?
I think so. Zenning it in. Get in the fetal position before you throw. Might help. The other two will clean up their pars, and I mean, getting a par on this one is basically what is fine, but that it's these par 3s, you definitely want to pick up as many 2s as you can because it really starts to add up. Because when you pick up the par 4s that we'll see later, you can really put together a really hot round.
Thank you, Dynamic Disc, for supporting the round coverage.
So on hole 2, this is a popular play on hole 2. This hole is tucked way in there. You kind of just throw a big high ante and hope you crash into the trees. But that's what happens. Sometimes you crash and then fall back out into the fairway, and you just have to pretty much lay up. I have seen rollers and sidearms and you name it that are trying to attack this. This looks good from Dustin. He'll have a putt from there. It's still uphill, but that's
like the best you can get.
I've seen people
unless
go
you
long
sneak
with it.
through it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what you're hoping for.
You're rolling the dice. You're basically going to Vegas and saying, please show me that 7.
There's so much to hit.
Nate opted for that sidearm. Rick, big high. Annie cracked.
Same spot. It's easy to pull it tight because you can't really see the gap from the tee pad. You kind of have to guess and some muscle memory. Whoa. That
Rick
was a big run.
Downtown.
That's a big hill.
Yeah. That shows it a little bit more on how big it is. Like, Philo has no look at the basket and has to just play it into the hillside, scoot it up, move on to the next hole.
Safe play by Nate.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much you can do if you're in the stuff over there too much. Get it.
That's
Great
the right
run.
miss. It's the right miss.
The miss high.
Even Dustin was a little surprised he missed high on a uphill putt. We'll see just a bunch of pars. It's you know, pretty standard on this hole. Getting the birdie really feels bonish-ish.
Bonus-ish.
Bonish-ish. But you definitely don't want to be taking any fours ever. Why would you want a four ever? Four's bad. Unless it's a par 4 or 5. Then it's good.
I don't mind fours sometimes. You
Hole
can
3.
see the tee pad's a little slippery if you just look at the ground up underneath them. It's a little slick.
Mm-hmm.
But we had rain for 3 days. It shows.
So hole 3 is a pretty interesting shot because there's a sidearm route that I think we'll see from Nate and Rick. But you have to go really wide around a tree, but it needs to stay straight before it finishes. Or you can throw the kind of turnover mid-range on the inside and kind of play rolling the dice again through the trees. And Nate's showing you that sidearm route.
It's a great shot.
I think he's sidearmed a couple times before, so he knows what he's doing. But Rick,
Sidearm inside.
no, I think that's still on the outside.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think he
you're
might have
right.
clipped
I
the
just saw it
outside.
sneak over there.
And this is the look you get from that inside route if you squeak through and get some get some love. You can definitely get all the way there. Like
Yeah, on the
Philo
right
has.
side. On the right side, there's a lot of trees. If you get over to that right side, you're just hoping that you might have a look at a putt.
Oh,
Nice putt,
come
Philo.
on, Philo. That's so good. Rick did get a lot farther than I thought he did. And this is what the sidearm look gives you. A little unorthodox from Ricky. I don't think he's got his raincoat, Rick, dialed right now because it isn't raining for him. Nate, Jamtown, let's go. Mm-hmm. Pars for Dustin and Rick. Making it look easy. No players off to a super hot start other than Philo with the 2 birdies, but see if they can catch fire as we continue on.
This hole's kind of a must-get. It's very, very short. It's a putter shot for most players or a sidearm if you're Nate. It's less than 200 feet, so pretty much anyone in the pro division should be birdieing this, and it's always disappointing when you miss it.
Those trees
Early
sneak
hit.
up on you.
There's not a lot of trouble to find on this one. If you get back there, you should still be able to get your 3, but not what any of those players are looking for. Ooh!
That's just typical
Or you could
Ricky.
just
Just
throw it in
runs
from downtown.
everywhere. Dustin's settling for that par and moving on. Nate's not going to want to remember that one, so we won't talk about it. Don't bring it up about hole 4, 2018, round 4, Beaver State Fling to Nate Sexton. If anybody does, I will give you a super sweet high five.
You want them to bring it up?
They have to find me to get the high five. That's really
not
tough.
Very nice.
I'm hard to find on the course. I don't wear any bright colors ever.
You're also not incredibly loud.
I'm the quietest person.
This must be opposite day.
I don't know what you're talking about. I know what she's talking about.
Philo's off to a great start.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out he plays really good here.
Hole 5 is a downhill, really tight tunnel shot, and Philo just
That
shows you
was
exactly what you're
amazing.
supposed to do. Let's just go to the next hole, because that's how you draw it up. you're going to see a lot of these here is the forehand rollers. It actually plays really well for it if you just get it down into this bowl. You can give yourself a pretty comfortable look because you'll be on the downside of the basket, so you can actually putt up to the basket without really too much worry. Dustin's going a little more inside. Just needs that thing to flip or run into the trees as fast as he could.
There's some trouble back there for sure. That seems to be the play this year. Even though Philo showed everybody how to do it with the backhand.
Mm-hmm. Now, Ricky's flipped a little early and puts him on the top side, so his putt's a little bit riskier.
There it is.
Actually, bring up hole 5, round 4 for Nate Sexton at the Beaver State Fling. Then you'll get a super sweet high five. That's a great putt from Nate. Those bonus putts that can really get your round going.
It's all over that basket. Oh.
Dustin didn't go as far as we thought.
Yeah, he had a better spot than I expected.
Making it look easy.
If it gets long, there's so much junk back there, but looks like he stayed on the outside of it.
There you go, Philo.
2 for Philo. He's killing it.
And that's what the craziest part about Ricky's game so far in this is he has drawn medal on every single shot he's thrown, it feels like, and he hasn't gotten a birdie yet. So if he's a little bit closer, we might have a different story here. Hole 6. Hole 6 is it's a really, really interesting shot. Philo's shot is textbook. He's going to have a great look at this one. It is a lot more left than it may appear here, and you're having to hit a pretty good gap.
There's some guardian trees that keep you from being able to throw wide enough.
And you can throw overstable, but it's hard to keep it through the gap. But then you can throw understable, and if it flips straight, you're not going to get left enough.
Like that.
I think more the Philo line. He's not a power player, but he just smoothed out a hyzer, made the gap look easy, and gets himself a look for 2.
That's beautiful.
And then Rick does.
That's a great shot.
Ricky things with an enforcer. You know, it's a Zach Melton Lucid X enforcer. It's good.
Get it.
Oh my.
That was a great run. He's pretty far out.
Yeah. Dustin, just give it a chance.
Up there. Yep.
Yeah. Rick is super parked. Philo keeping that super solid start.
I love the band wraps on these baskets. They look so good. They've got little like trees and mountains and stuff on the bottom of them. With the Beaver State Fling beaver.
I had a moment where I said I was going to hit the beaver in the teeth on a putt because he was cheesing at me, and I said I'm going to hit him, and then I came just inside. No, I didn't hit it high. I actually made the chains. I couldn't hit a beaver. They're cute. Routine pars from 2 of those gentlemen. Rick getting on the board.
Still just killing it.
Mm-hmm. Now, hole 7 is a linked style par 4. You're not gonna. The only eagles you will see will be throw-ins, because the basket isn't really accessible from the tee. So that's a pretty great shot from Philo. You're gonna see from these guys is smooth, right-handed backhand hyzer shots that get through the gap.
You just don't want to go long into the bushes there. The trees in the back, they're really, really low, so you end up with something you have to lay out for. You don't really have a shot from inside those trees, and it's easy for these players to push it long instead of left. That's a great play.
Yeah, Nate is one to play to his strengths, throwing a sidearm here, keeping it super straight. That's a great spot. A lot of backhand hyzers still even end up there.
I don't know if I've ever seen the sidearm on that hole before. That was great. That'll work.
Even where Dustin ends up, that's the spot you want to be.
Coca-Cola ad or what? Philo.
Maybe that's Philo's trick to this round is gotta have a Coke.
I highly doubt it. That'd be super cool though.
It's good. Getting sponsored by
All
Coca-Cola.
right, Coke, we know you're watching. Make it happen.
Let's make it happen, Coca-Cola. I'm ready for you.
The basket being tucked back into these trees, there's a lot of stuff to find and get slowed down with the overhang, so you can skip one in like Philo was trying to do. That's pretty the typical play.
That's slightly uphill too. It's kind of hard to tell, but you always have to throw it a little further than you think.
Dustin might challenge some of those branches. He misses them.
Alyssa,
It's a sweet
there's our
Sweet bounce.
photographer.
extraordinaire, Alyssa Van
She's
Lannen.
amazing.
Go in. Rick throwing a harp. Duh.
Would you say this is like a pretty... You should 3 this? Most of MPO should 3 it?
Yeah. If
I feel like
you...
this is one that most of you guys get.
It's a pretty easy par 4. If you get clean off the box, you're not going to worry too much about too much danger. You just have to throw a really good approach.
Oh. Oh.
Where's that going? It's got a mind of its own.
Roly poly.
Philo got tucked back into a really awkward position and got a weird roll away, so that's a
Trying to
bummer.
loft it up there.
Dustin getting the bird. Getting some tree love. He's from Oregon. Like, Oregon people love trees. There's so many of them.
That is accurate.
Good putt from Philo. That's a good comeback. And Philo showing just how it feels to take a par on this hole because you, as Tina said,
Get it.
most of the players should be birdieing this. But you know, taking a par is fine. You know, just got to clean it up on the upcoming holes. Still got a pretty hot start. Only 2 pars. Lots of 2s. Hole 8, I will be surprised if we don't see 4 backhand rollers from these players. It's an interesting shot that really asks for a right-handed backhand roller.
The ceiling's too low to get there in the air, so it makes a lot more sense to get there on the ground.
I did hear some stories of like Colton Montgomery throwing an air shot and parking it, which is insane if it did happen. So you'll have to ask him. And the lefty line is more of a hyzer, so it's pretty tough. And that was an air shot from Philo, so I was wrong.
But it clipped those branches. Just that's what happens with most air shots.
Nate going for the inside roller route, which is going to put him inside that giant bush.
Yeah, it's tricky back there. It's easy to get off the fairway on this one, even if you're in the middle of the trees. In the middle, it's still a low line with a bunch of shrubbery. So
What a shot from Philo.
that was great. He's really far away.
Rick, fastest player in the world.
Probably just finding that one tiny gap. That was great.
And the Fling is a place where you really have to pull out all of your shots. It challenges you constantly. You have to, when you're in the woods, you gotta make up shots and just get yourself out of trouble. And even when you're on the fairways, you're having to throw different turnovers, sidearms, flex shots, and whatnot. Nate's not going to be too happy with that bogey there, but he was. You could tell he was running that from in the woods. So that was the risk reward on final round.
So you just walked into a disc golf store. Look at all that sweet plastic. So many new discs to try. What if you don't like this new disc? Rest easy. When shopping at any of our buyback retailers, if you are not completely satisfied with a disc from Dynamic Discs, Latitude 64, or Westside Discs, bring it back within 14 days with proof of purchase and we will replace it with whatever disc you want in the store, no matter the brand. It is that simple. Now get out there and play some disc golf. Check out dynamicdisc.com/retail to find a buyback retail partner near you.
So we're on hole 9. This is the infamous genius hole. And Rick showing that he is very smart. And hits the tree with the sign on it. That's
still
insane.
a great drive. That's way down there.
Yeah,
the rain just started coming down. There it is.
This hole is very elevated and it is a pretty difficult tunnel off the box. But if you can just smash one out here, catch the hillside, you're going to be looking to get that birdie 3 on this par 4. I think the only par 4 of this. No, it's the second par 4 of this front 9, which is Philo showing off. He's got some muscles.
Looking good.
That's a pretty routine spot to end up, and kind of where you want to be.
There's a couple cards up there.
Nate with the sidearm play again. I love watching him play because
what he's good at.
he sticks to his strengths. He's not in that bad of a spot here. This is still pretty manageable for a player of his caliber. Now, I'm just saying, I would have loved to see where Rick's would have ended up without that tree, because it was still moving.
Yeah.
Because he smashed it. Philo, just another day in Oregon, throwing in beautiful upshots. Typical.
Yeah, he would have had to putt at that for sure. No doubt.
And that's what you got to do. Even on an open hole, he still had to scramble his approach to get around that tree.
It's a great shot, too.
Good play from Dustin.
Yeah, most players, I think, in MPO are going to take a 3 on this one, too. You can find trouble pretty easily if you turn over your drive. But it's still a decent up and down. But if you get through the gap, you're probably going to be able to scramble for your 3.
Yeah. We see those players getting a star frame. That's great. So that's our front 9 coverage. And we look forward to seeing you guys on the back 9. Whale Pants will be at it again. Thank you so much.